We spoke to him on the Monday after the announcement. I wanted to talk to him on the Monday after the induction to see how it all went down. I'm very curious. Here he is, Little Evil himself, Jens Pulver, joining us. Hello, Jens. How are you?
I'm golden, my friend. How you doing?
How
I
about
got a
Chael?
big smile. I was just watching you and Chael, and I love you, Chael. I appreciate you. I wasn't trying to rush you, brother. I promise you.
No, you see, I don't like to keep people waiting. Chael's insane.
I get it.
But how lucky are we? 2 OGs back to back. So, Jens, tell us the weekend that you've been talking about, dreaming about. How was it?
I got this big cheesy smile. It hasn't left. It's been. Yeah, I don't even know how to begin to start, because my family, just everybody that was there, just, man, the fans, the crowd, everything. I'm stuck. I don't know what to say, but it's one of those things where I just did everything in my power. Just make sure you slow down, enjoy it to the best of your ability, enjoy every moment, take it all in. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I did, is just live by the minute and just embrace it. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you did a good job of that? Did you enjoy everything? Did you take it all in?
I did. Yeah, I think I did, because now it's, and one of the cool things we had going on too is that they were filming that Where Are They Now? Because remember, that's how this whole thing broke the first time. And I said, yeah, I'll do this. So I'm really excited when we get through all of this, and this will come out probably in October or something. So we get to relive the whole thing again. And then my producer, AK Snoo, Sean, he filmed hours, so he's got it all, and it's, wait till you see these videos. He's got one of me in the back. I'm watching Brian Butler induct me.
Oh.
I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm cheering, I'm crying, I'm laughing, and then I get called out, and then off we go. But so there's going to be a lot. We're going to be living this thing for a little while, I think.
And as you should. When did you get to Vegas?
Wednesday afternoon. And then it was just, what the weirdest thing was though, Ariel, this is no lie. I felt like I was fighting. I felt like Wednesday was the day where you weighed in and everything. And then Thursday in the afternoon, before I had to go, and we had to go early to do all the sound check, they brought us in early to, and stuff. And I got to give everybody a hug. Everybody was waiting around. I come down there from the elevator, give everybody the hug, the high fives. Love you. I'll see you at the show. I mean, it felt like my PTSD was going through the roof. I felt like I was getting ready to say my goodbyes, and I'm on my way to the arena, which I was. Only this time I wasn't fighting, was getting inducted. But I had to convince myself, man, this feels exactly the same way. So it was incredible. Yeah, getting there Wednesday and then coming home Sunday.
And just curious about that PTSD, because that's a very interesting word. And I think Cowboys said the same thing to a degree. Because there's these was it a nice feeling, or were you trying to?
It was an awesome feeling. Okay. Well, it was absorbing it, but it's a rush, and you get nervous. I don't think people understand, and I say it all the time about time. Money can't buy it. We always wish we had more, and the fact you all are in here giving us your time, the greatest thing in the world, to get out there and get in front of you. Obviously, I was nervous when it came to giving my speech. I'd memorized the damn thing. I've said it at least 25 times, before I went out there. But then I knew emotion was going to jump in. All the people are there. I'm going to lock eyes with someone or something. And then it's going to but that's just like in the fight world. It's all golden until they always talk about that walk out to the cage. It just, boom, you just... I mean, it's like putting your feet in freezing cold water. It's a rush every time. It doesn't matter. So you just want to make sure everything goes the way that you're rehearsing it. Up here, there was no difference.
I saw some great interactions that we were catching, sort of behind the scenes. One with you and Robbie Lawler. What was it like being there with Robbie, who you go way back with?
It's destiny. It's so weird because, and again, I love everybody when they say, it's about time. And again, thank you so much for your pushes at all times, Ariel. Thank you for always being a supporter of this, and I can't thank you enough. And I always said, but it's the perfect time. Then you just look at the way that it happened. And next thing you know, I'm sitting here at Robbie's fight. I was commentating with Bas Rutten, but I'm at the same event, and Robbie goes out there, and just the way that he went out there, now all of a sudden there's my little brother. And then I got to see Nick and I started walking around. It was crazy. We were just two brothers. I was just holding on to, and we were just kind of walking along and just talking and catching up. And then we all got together for a minute. Nick went one way, then there's Robbie. I got little Abel. My entire past just all of a sudden, whoom, rolled up into one big ball of greatness. And it was cool because it was just the perfect time, and the way to see Robbie go out and the way that he went out with this fight, I was crying. I think somebody told me that they showed me because I was at the Apex and doing the UFC watch along with Bas Rutten and Vis, and then when he retired, I think they said they put a picture of me up watching me. I'm crying like a baby. I was bawling. So it was just an unbelievable moment to just have all of this, because I remember, like I said, Robbie was 17 years old, rolled up or he was 18 with a 2x4 hanging out his windshield, and he had to go win this tough contest, and he got like $1,000, and that's how he paid for his windshield.
Wow, that's the first time you met him.
Well, I knew who he was. He was just his youngster kid. He was like a junior in high school when I first met him, and then after that, he was just we'd go watch him at high school and watch him train and stuff. And then Robbie's literally been my little brother for a long time, and it was crazy because I got to sit there and talk to Nick, and Nick's like, "Remember, you're the one who was teaching me how to box, you and I," because Nick was 16 when I met him, and I was down there in Lodi, California, at the Shamrock 2000 gym.
Are you talking about Nick Diaz?
Oh, you know this, yes.
Wow.
Nick Diaz.
Wait, he was there too?
I got to sit there and walk around with Nick and just catch up with him. And like I said, it was like my little brother. He's a lot bigger than me now, but I'm just holding on to my little brother. Just, man, I finally just got to rap with him. We spent about like an hour just walking through the casino, and stuff like that. But it's great to see him.
How is he doing?
He seems good with me, I mean, he seems like, obviously he gets pulled in 1,000 directions and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how are you? I mean, how's everything going? And, I was like, I know I'm really bad at this, but I'd love to stay in touch. But that's the one problem is I always feel like I'm bothering people, so I never reach out. I'm like, I don't want to bug him. But at the same token, I'm like, dude, I'm going to bug you. I'm going to keep bugging you, because hopefully it's not pissing you off. Like, nah, it's good. I go, all right. Cause I don't want to be that person.
I think a lot of people,
it was really cool.
I think what happens is a lot of people feel that way, and then that you don't realize, and I'm sure you can speak to this, it feels really good when someone reaches out. Like more
it feels
people,
awesome.
Right?
No, it's awesome, Mario. And that's what I tell people all the time. It's like, please don't mistake me for being like a pompous dick or something. When I'm walking around, I'm not just, I'm Jen's Pulver and look at that. I just assume nobody wants to mess with me. Nobody wants to talk to me. That's why Curtis, when he asked that question, he had me damn near crying. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm a legend. No, I don't feel like any of that, but I just don't. And I tell people, I don't mean to not. It's just, I just can convince myself, I just don't want to bug them. I just don't want to mess with them,
Which question are you talking about?
Well, he had made a statement when he came. I was sitting at the we were doing that live Q&A up on the stage. Jose Aldo, me, Cowboy. It was the Hall of Fame panel. And he came in and he asked, he goes, do you realize the kind of that you're a legend? Like, you came and spoke to me. I was in, I think he said 2009, I had lost the fight. And he goes, the judge had me lose the fight. And just what you said to me, you know what I mean? The way that you were able to, just the things you said to me, it stuck with me. He's like, do you realize that you're a legend, that all these young fighters looked up to you and you paved the way for all these lighter fighters, and how much of a legend you are? And I'm just kind of, no, I go, but you're going to make me cry, man. I was like, no, I don't realize these things. I never did. You know what I mean? No, I don't realize, because I'm afraid to think like that.
Why are you afraid?
Again, Eric, I was always afraid, like, people think I was being like a cocky dick. But again, there's a difference between obviously feeling good, being happy about your accomplishments, but it's just something that, I don't know, is the way that I was raised. It was the way that I grew up, man. It was living on eggshells. Whenever I did something good, that was half the reason my dad was going to dish me a beating. He didn't like seeing the smiles on our faces. So I carried that with me, that whenever things good start to happen, I'm waiting for the shoe. I'm waiting for the gosh dang the shoe to drop. And that's why this time around, why everything was so perfect, was this was for the first time I really, 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 Ariel, got to enjoy all of it without any of that side noise, without any of that, that just waiting for that other shoe to drop. And it was the smoothest thing I've ever done. It was incredible.
Would it be fair to say, like, this was the first time in your career, obviously you may like corner someone, coach someone and feel good, but like when it pertained to you, you're in an arena, you're in a fight setting. Obviously you didn't fight, but it's the closest thing where everything felt good. Like it never felt this happy and pure, even when you were at the top, when you were a champion?
1,000%. Even when I was champion, that was the worst. That was the worst sometimes for me, was being a champion, because that's when my anxiety was at its highest. And I'm just like, man, something bad is going to happen, because that's the eggshells that I lived on growing up in life. And that's why this time around, when I did the speech, I don't know if people were ready for that one, but it was something that I had to do. I had to y'all just take a journey with me real quick. And I need to go back and talk to that little Jens and just thank him, man, for not pulling that trigger, because I think about that all the time. And I used to have like all these books and stuff that I used to write. It's just untold stories of a life never lived. Because if I'd have pulled that trigger, all of this is it's just nothing.
The speech was incredible, and I expected it to be incredible and emotional. How long did it take for you to write that speech?
Okay, well, it's funny. The minute I got inducted, I started writing pieces. There were things I wanted to do. There were stories I wanted to tell. And then it just kept changing and changing and changing. And then I talked to my baby brother, Abel, and I was like, you start thinking one person, then you left out this person, then you left out this person. Then you just can't thank enough people. And Abel's like, you need to thank you. Hey, what are you talking about? This is about you. This is the one time where you get to go out there and you get to talk about you. And that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? My wife was saying the same thing. And my kids are like, well, like, we know how much you love us. This isn't a moment to go out there. This is about you. And so the more I thought about that, I was like, damn, okay, well, then we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to figure out. And then I had it written down in my head that I wanted to go back in time. I'm literally thinking back to the future kind of thing. You know what I mean? I want to go back in time because I had talked to my mom, and that beating that I took, it was really bad. And I was done. And I was like, it's weird the way it played out, but it's like I've been building for this my whole life. Like I said, I've got notebooks and notepads of the things I would write and goals that I want to do and stuff. And everything was titled Untold Stories of a Life Never Lived. I have an idea. I always had an idea for a movie. And it goes back to this. I told people about this movie I wanted to do a few years ago where it's kind of like, what was that? The Sixth Sense, where you go through this whole movie only to realize that he was never there. Well, I was going to tell this whole story of greatness, how I became a world champion, the Hall of Fame, all these things. And then boom, it was going to go back. I'm in my sophomore year. I'm at the hospital and they're doing the beep, beep, beep. And then we're going to do the whole pushing on the chest, trying to bring me back to life. And they call it. And they say, I flatline. And I've had that in my head forever. And that was that. And so everybody's like, dude, you mean he never, no. So it's always been, they're just all untold stories of a life never lived. And so that's what made me go back and tell this speech. Cause I figured like, this is the same kind of thing. That makes sense.
Man, yes, that makes sense. That is incredible stuff. Were you hesitant at all to say as much as you did? And I urge everyone to watch it because I can't do it justice. And even talking about it with you won't do it justice. But I'm just wondering if there was anything that you were like, maybe I don't want to talk about this. Perhaps because your family
shortened.
Okay.
No, I shortened. But then there was, if you go back and watch the speech, I look and I saw my mother was sitting there. And I went, oh man, that's what I was trying to avoid. Cause I can't, you know what I mean? I can't talk. I can't see my mom and not start crying. I cried for like half an hour. I feel like a little baby. I just can't see my mom. I just wanted to be proud. See, it's already, damn it, it's already happening. And I looked, I went, oh, there she is. I'm like, no, now I'm looking at her. So I'm trying really hard to, remember I'm talking to little Jens and I can't, like I said, I want him to be proud. I want her to be happy. And she's the reason why we did what we did, I love her to death.
Did she know all that stuff beforehand?
Yeah, she was there. She knew I was going to, I did call her and tell her, hey, I think this is the way I'm going to go when it comes with the speech. And I go, I hope you're okay with that. I don't like living in the past. You know what I mean? I don't like dwelling too much, but I really want to talk about, this is the speech that I want to say. And we just had a conversation. She's like, I remember the tears. I remember hearing you cry. I remember all of it. And I'm like, all right. So I don't want to bring up, I'm not trying to bring up old wounds.
Sure.
I'm also trying to say goodbye I'm trying to just say goodbye. And like I said, I think it just ended up being fitting that I got to go talk to little Jens and just tell him thank you. Because there's a message to that just for everybody. See, the part I left out was, and I almost thought about doing it, was my cousin, may he rest in peace. He killed himself when I was 12 years old and he was 16. And that's when I started learning about the pain and how bad it hurts everybody, and even how guilty we all felt. Like, how come we wasn't worth living for? He was supposed to come visit us that summer. So in a lot of ways, Jess, what he did made it saved me because I knew no matter how hard I held on to that moment, I knew that it just could not be an option because I could never have my parents feel. I never wanted my mom to feel the way that I know it made me feel, and my cousins and my aunt and uncle feel the pain that that caused. You know what I mean? And so that message is there for anybody and everybody out there. Never close the door on the person you're going to be. Just keep moving forward and continue to grow your world, and those problems they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I tell people, you think about where you were 5 years ago. You know, are those problems, if they still are the same problems, we need to get moving. And if they're not, it's because you have expanded your world and you've had other places, but never close the door on the person you're going to become. And that's why I finally got to go back and just tell him, thank you, man. Thank you, little Jens, for not pulling that trigger, because what a ride. You know, I mean, this has been incredible.
Oh my God. By the way, if you don't mind me asking, your cousin was so young. Why do you know why he did that? Still don't know.
That wasn't for me to know. And I almost feel bad sometimes talking about it, but there's a part, like I said, you know, he saved me a long time ago with that, you know, and he doesn't know it, but I was so young. I was just sad I lost my cousin.
Yeah, no, I understand. What I was asking you about earlier about your mom, did she know you felt like that? Like the stuff that you're talking about, the trigger and all, like,
You know, she knew because she was cleaning me up, and she knew,
okay.
back in the day, she knew, yeah, she knew I was angry. I was an angry little kid. And, you know, we talked about it. That's, again, I can't, every time I seen her, I was just crying. I just sit there and I literally, Ariel, I'm like, I turned into a little kid just crying, being next to my mommy, because I was raised by this woman. I love her to death. I've been, you know, I mean, I've been her shield. I've been her protector since I was a little kid, tried to anyways,
Right.
you know, and I just can't be around. It tears me up to think about it. You know what I mean? Just to think about it. But I told her, I go, I'm not trying to, I need to tell this story, you know, and because it's just a great way to let go. And I wanted her to, yeah, sorry, I can't, I'm gonna lose it. So I got to let go.
Any great interactions, conversation? You just told us about the Nick one, which is tremendous. That will really stick with you. Was there any great run-ins with anyone that you saw?
All of it. All of them. Like you know what? I had the best time because I run the official UFC Twitch page, and we did the watch along. And I had Vis. He's been a co-host with me for a while. But sitting there with Bas Rutten, that was hands down one of the coolest things, because for the most part, I'm, you know, people that I can relate to, or people that are under, you know, they look up to me, so to speak. But never have we really got to do something where someone that I look up to a point that I literally fought in the Bas Rutten. That's how I got started. That's how the 155-pound division got started, because Bas Rutten's was his invitational. John Peretti was the matchmaker, and I left Idaho to go out there and fight in that. And just to sit there and shoot the shiz with him and just talk with him, and just the way that things, like, we were on point. A lot of things we were talking about was striking and this and that. I'm like, I'm sitting here talking to the legend Bas Rutten. This is the greatest thing. I instantly bought his O2 breather right on the spot, and it came today. So I'm already working on my breathing and 100%. So that was one, again, that was amazing. But just my friends, my family, my cousin Justin and Shane came, everybody. But above all of them, it was just so cool. The fans, just no matter where you go, just rushing up to you and saying hello. I felt so bad when I couldn't sign every autograph that day, because we were there for a 3-hour window, and I felt horrible leaving people behind. But at the same token, I was like, if you see me walking around or whatever, again, man, the fans, there's nothing like it. It's the greatest interactions I've ever had in my life. It's just getting people, man. They just want to give you their time, and you get to just meet people, and they get to talk to you, and you can make their day, and you put a smile on their face. And, you know what I mean? They wait in line just to meet you. You meet their kids, you meet their friends, it's the coolest thing on the planet. I mean, I love it.
Apologies if it was recently, but when was the last time you were in Vegas for a big fight and felt this kind of love?
It's been a while, because I've been running these streams for 2 years, and I got to be home, because I do, even on the pay-per-views, we have guests. Every other time, it's just a watch along, and it's me. And again, what do? I'm talking with chat for 7 hours. That's how much fun I have. I can talk to just chat for 7 hours. Like, I got to go on today. I'll be live at 5 o'clock Chicago time, 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't know who we're going to interview, but we're going to recap all of the things. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame and everything, but we're going to recap all the fights from Saturday. clips and everything else. And I don't know who I'll interview, but I get to do all that on the Twitch TV/UFC. So it's, like I said, man, it's crazy. I love it. Love it.
You saw the card on Saturday? Who was the star of the show in your opinion? Who blew you away?
And Jake is,
Yeah.
oof, really? Why you got to do that to Whitaker? I mean, that was, wow. Because I love Whitaker. You know,
Yeah.
I've had Whitaker's one of my usuals when it comes to being a watch long guest. He is, and I knew Volkanovski was going to do that. I know some people were talking smack when I said I wish there would have been a 6th round, because to me, if he had just had that that imaginary 6th round, I think he had Makhachev completely broken. Makhachev beat him, but so I'm excited for that fight. But all of it, Pantoja looked great. And that's why I did just go back through and go through the card. I'm excited to get started. Cameron, I mean, it's. I loved the card. It was fun, but like I said, I was so caught up rapping with Bas and Vis. Yeah, it was fun. I got to be in my own little podcast room at the Apex, and so it was weird. I was out of my studio. You know, when you get out of your studio, it's awkward, right? You're like, and nothing's in the right place.
And so I urge everyone to check that out. If I could end on this, you've had such a long career, and there were ups and downs. And, there were ups and downs of the UFC, and it's all worked out. And look, you're so happy. And there's a part of me that was sad, Jens, and I just wonder how you feel about it, that Anderson wasn't there on Thursday. And I just wonder how, you internalized that, because obviously you had your own thing. And I think his relationship right now with the UFC isn't great. And honestly, I think that's part of the reason why he wasn't there. And that bummed me out, because, you see how much it means to you and to Aldo and everyone. And I'm just wondering if you felt like, man, it's a lot fresher with him, right? Like, he just left. There was a time when you just thought it was fresh, and maybe 10 years ago you do things differently. Do you think that's something that all parties will regret, that he wasn't able to have that moment?
I stayed away from it. I was like, he had his reason.
Yeah.
And hopefully whatever it is, I feel it for it. But man, I'm sitting here looking at Cowboy. I've got Robbie Lawler to my right. I've got Jose Aldo. That was one to bring it back. That one, because Anderson and I, as far back he and I would have went talking about pride and stuff, would have been crazy. But the reaction from Jose Aldo when I got to see him, that blew my mind. I was blown, because here I am, super starstruck, and here's Jose looking at me like, and then Andre Pedneris, who goes way back, him and Miletich had that fight and stuff, and I was just, the reaction I got just from Jose was, like I said, that was humbling. So whatever did happen with Anderson, again, I was just so caught up in my feels and where I was at, that it didn't even really think about whatever he had to do. Hopefully there's a peace, a pleasure, and that gets whatever happens. But I completely clueless, because I was so caught up with what was in front of me.
And I wasn't trying to put you on the spot in terms of
I know you weren't. I know you weren't, but I'm being honest. I never even I just was like, damn, it would be real cool to have seen him. It'd been really cool to see him, but I didn't even go any farther than that with it.
In the end, is it possible that the event, the night, the moment ended up being better than you dreamed? I'm sure you dreamed of it and thought of it for years, right? Like, in the end, did it actually exceed your expectations?
It crushed it.
Wow.
It crushed it with my family, with, like I said, with Robbie. It couldn't have been better with Cowboy. What I'm saying, with Jose out, with everybody. But again, everything else was with the fans. I really missed that. That was really cool to just be back in there and feel relevant and feel, feel that whole, and just to go out there and just to hear everybody and stuff. It was better than I ever thought. Because now, again, with the age of my children, there was a point we did that Q&A. I was signing autographs at the convention. I brought my whole family up on the deal, because we were filming that Where Are They Now? So they all had to come up, and I yelled at all the crowd. I said, hey, could you all do me a favor? I go, they don't really ever get to see what it's like when people are screaming and cheering. I go, could you just do that one time? Freak them all out. Freak them all out. But it was so cool just to give that gift, to share my family with the fans, and the fans shared, their appreciation to me with my family. And Ariel, I think it couldn't have been better. There's no way it couldn't have been. I mean, it couldn't have been better. Other than Butler could have stayed a little longer. That'd have been it. I love that man. Brian Butler, I love that man.
Yeah, he had been banging the drum for so long. Perfect choice,
man, I'm telling you,
to induct you. There was no one else that had to do that.
He had me crying the whole time. It was Yeah, I love that, man.
I'm delighted for you. So happy it happened.
Thank you.
It
Thank
was
you.
emotional to watch it, but in the best way possible. And now we could put this to rest, and you can continue doing great things in the sport. Thank you so much, Jens. All the best to you,
Thank you,
and
brother. I
really
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. I'll see y'all later on.
There he is, the great Jens Pulver. What a moment it was. I urge everyone to check it out.